ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रहे। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna everyone, and welcome you all on our ongoing discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam. So somehow or other yesterday I could not share the screen because of some issues. So let's recap on that. Uh, I hope you can see my screen now. Okay, so that's fine now. So this is again a lineage of Adharma, which was again a son of Lord Brahma, and Adharma he was born from the back of Brahma, and his wife, or his actually he was sister, but his wife and Mrisha, so is called as falsity and illusion. From them is Damba or bluffing and the Maya cheating. They begot it, and from these two we get Lobha or Nikriti or cunning or greed, and then from them it's Krodha and Himsa, that is anger and envy, and then Kali and harsh speech, and after that it comes Mrityu and Bihi, there is fear. So after that, it comes as Yatana, but it's basically excessive pain, and Niraya, there's a hell. And these are the lineage of Adharma. And what happens if we know or we understand this? So we get piety. And what Prabhupada explains about piety, let's read it. Prabhupada says, and then Maitra Muni says to Vidura that, my dear Vidura, I have actually explained to the cause of devastation. These are the lineage of devastation or lineage of Adharma. One who hears this description 3 times attains piety and washes the sinful contamination from his soul. And Prabhupada writes, and Prabhupada says, all these descendants are described as signs of devastation. So, we see that, how the greed, cunning, anger, envy, in a harsh speech, even death and the pain and the hell, it's all actually devastation. It's all going towards our lower planets. It's degrading us, not elevating us. And then Prabhupada says, if a person is pious and hears about these causes of devastation, he will feel hatred for all these, and that will cause his advancement in the life of piety. And piety refers to the process of cleansing the heart. So basically, by hearing this, by meditating on this, we clear our hearts because we don't want to commit those mistakes again and again. All right. And after describing this, we went our description about how the lineage of Uttanapad. He got Dhruva Maharaj. He got two wives, Suruchi and Suniti. And Dhruva Maharaj, he wanted to sit on his lap, but he was not allowed. And Suruchi sent his back by saying very harsh and bad words. And then Suniti pacified him, saying, you don't have to envy us. Whatever comes to us, it's only because of our past deeds. And by saying that, she said, okay, you should actually go and worship Lord Vishnu. And she said example of Manu, your father, as well as Lord Brahma, your great grandfather as well. Sorry, Manu, your grandfather, and Brahma, great grandfather, they also worship Lord Vishnu too, and they are devotee as well. And then Dhruva Maharaj went to the forest by the instruction of mother. He was actually in very angry, and he wanted, and he desired a kingdom which is more bigger than his great grandfather. Just imagine, you see with how bigger our Brahmanda is, and he's desiring bigger than that. And he is Kshatriya, so he went there, and we've seen how important learning yesterday, that and how could Lord Narada come in front of him? How could Narada Muni come and pacified Dhruva Maharaj and tested as well? So as the intensity of Dhruva Maharaj to please Lord Vishnu, to Lord Krishna, and the intensity of him, actually Krishna residing within our heart knows it, what our no how much intense we are to please him, to worship him, and hence he sends spiritual masters on the path of our life. And by that, Narada Muni became his spiritual master. He instructed him what to do. He taught him the meditation process. He made a deity of some clay from Yamuna, river Yamuna, and then he's told about how to meditate on the form. He described about the beautiful form of Lord Vishnu, and then he said he's residing in our heart as well. And he taught his Ashtanga yoga, and then he says whatever you have, with time, place, and circumstances, you can worship him, and you can actually offer him through your mind as well, whatever you wish to offer. And by saying that, Dhruva Maharaj started worshipping Lord Vishnu. In fact, he Narada Muni tested him first, but when he said, okay, no, I don't want to listen all these things, please enlighten me the path where I'm going to. And then Narada Muni, by glorifying him and glorifying Lord Krishna, he told him the path to do it. And then, as of now, we were studying till now. And then after instructing Dhruva Maharaj that what you need to do, and Dhruva Maharaj went to Madhuban to worship, and then Narada Muni came back to Uttanpad, to the palace, and he said, okay, and Uttanpad, O king, oh, you are feeling like, you are looking very morose. What happened? So are you not performing your duties of Artha, Kama, and Dharma not very well? Why are you so worrying? And then he explained that, I am so cruel, and because of my attachment to my wife, I did all these things, and I am very much sorrow that how he will be surviving now, where he would be there. He's just 5 year old, and many a thing. And right now the learning comes from here that he has committed a mistake, and now he's admitting it in front of Narada Muni. And then Narada Muni says, don't worry about Dhruva. And Dhruva, the thing is that Dhruva is actually going to get the highest thing, that is, he's going to see Lord Krishna. So do not worry for him. And not only just that, your son will become famous as well in this whole world. In 3 world, he will become famous. So do not worry about him. And he is going to be successful. Successful in this life is pleasing Lord Krishna. And this is the most difficult thing, to please Krishna. But when we take up the path gradually, with our intensity, with our dedication and determination, we certainly can please him. Right? By saying that, Narada Muni pacified Uttanapad. He said, don't worry, he's going to come back very soon, and he's going to please Lord Vishnu, and he will come back. And then in that chapter, he described how Dhruva Maharaj started his austerity. Dhruva Maharaj, his austerity was quite, very, very severe, very severe. And you can see this effect. A small child, 5 years old, within 5-6 months, he could please Lord Vishnu. And by hearing that, he said, Narada Muni instructed, you should control your senses, you should eat less and everything. And then Dhruva Maharaj took a bath in Yamuna and worshipped as per instructions, whatever is given to him. And in the first month, he only ate a fruit in 3 days. That's called as berry or kapita. That's a fruit. He ate once in 3 days. Just imagine. And the second month, he was just eating dry grass and leaves once in 6 days. And the third month, he was just drinking only water once in 9 days. And in the fourth month, only air, and that is also once in 12 days. This means, just one in 12 days he would inhale. See the austerity, the level of austerity what Dhruva Maharaj has done, just to please Supreme Lord. Though he has a desire of to get the great kingdom, but still imagine the austerity. And the learning comes here that we sometimes think, how can we please Lord, or how can we get elevated? But their needs is basically our intention or our kind of dedications towards approaching Lord Krishna, right? And Prabhupada also says that just being in this world we can achieve Lord Krishna. We need to just follow the path what given by acharyas. So as Prabhupada has minimized as chanting 16 rounds of Mahamantra every day unfailingly, and keeping in touch with the scriptures. Prabhupada has given us unending kind of things in his literature, in his books. And if we just start reading or listening or hearing, gradually we'll actually attain those platform. And then in the fifth month, he was actually controlling his breath and mind and stood on one leg and meditated on Lord's form. So Narada Muni actually told him that how Lord looks, and he was actually meditating with full concentration on the Lord within himself, a super soul. And it's been described the whole world started trembling, as if it explains that as if a boat, when a goat in a sea, and if elephant is riding on a boat, and if elephant puts one of his legs, the boat turns this side. If one of the other leg, the boat turns this side. And that kind of happening, the earth was happening by the you know uh, austerity of Dhruva Maharaj. Why? Because Dhruva Maharaj actually is meditating on Lord Vishnu so intensely that Krishna was residing in his heart. And we know Krishna or Vishnu, he whole universe is in within him only. And hence it made him so heavier that the earth is getting pushed down as well. Just imagine, Lord is in his heart now, and everyone was getting suffocated. And by hearing, by seeing all these things, all the devatas, they approached to Lord Vishnu. He said, okay, let's just protect us, what's happening over there? And then Lord said, no, don't worry, a pure devotee of mine is doing austerity, and I'll come back. I'll go and please him very soon. And then Lord appears. So what happened actually, as Dhruva Maharaj was closing his eyes on full meditation, and he was meditating on Lord Vishnu, who is residing within his heart in this 400 form, and all of a sudden he could not see anything. All of a sudden he could not see anything, because he could see the form very clearly within his heart, but nothing. And he got bewildered, and then just opened his eye, and he could see the same form standing in Garuda in front of him. And then he could not imagine anything, Dhruva Maharaj. And then he wanted to pray. He wanted to pray with very sweet words, but he was just 5 years, so he might not have that kind of wording for that. And what happened? Lord Vishnu, he touched his counsel to Dhruva Maharaj, and then everything, whatever the entire Vedic knowledge was revealed to Dhruva Maharaj just by one touch of Vishnu, right? So just imagine, because we earlier also we seen how Lord Krishna enlightened Lord Brahma within his heart, and everything he got the Vedic knowledge how to create this universe. And now just by the touch of Lord Krishna's conch, Dhruva Maharaj get enlightened with all the Vedic knowledge. And so that's why Krishna says, in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Tesam bhadata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam. So Krishna, he gives us the knowledge within her, within our heart. When we are dedicated, we are dedicated to serve him. That is the only thing required is our dedication. Rest, everything will be handled by Krishna. No worries on that. So so the desire to render service to render service belongs only to us, or basically the ability to perform, it will be given by Krishna. So once we desire, Krishna is fulfilling. In fact, whatever we desire in this world, even to have the material things, that are also being fulfilled by Krishna in somehow or other. Maybe the desire what we have right now, let's suppose for material things, and if those are not being fulfilled, that actually takes to our next birth and get fulfilled in some next time. But whatever the desire we have, that is for sure is being fulfilled. That's why we should keep our desire or think our desire very carefully, what we need in our life. And if we dream, or if we think of doing service to Lord, achieving to this Vaikuntha Dham, serving him, he will provide us the opportunity to serve him as well. Right. And the Dhruva Maharaj says, my dear, my dear Lord, as he got all the knowledge, now he's glorifying Lord. He says, my dear Lord, you are all powerful, and after entering within me, you have enlivened all my sleeping senses, my hands, my legs, my ears, my touch sensation, life force, and especially my power of speech. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So now, just by the touch of Krishna, he is enlightened, and now he is going to offer obeisances. The first thing he says, everything is now enlightened, all my senses are enlightened just because of you. And he established the supremacy of bhakti. He says, my Lord, the transcendental bliss derived from meditating upon your lotus feet or hearing about your glorious from pure devotee is so unlimited that it is far beyond the stage of Brahmananda, wherein one thinks himself merged in the impersonal Brahman as one with Supreme. That's called Brahmananda. Or since Brahmananda is also defeated by the transcendental bliss derived from the devotional service, then what to speak of temporary blissfulness of elevating oneself to the heavenly planet, which is ended by the separating sword of time? Although one may be elevated to the heavenly planet, he falls down in due course of time. So what he's explaining is that the first stage of self-realization is what people think that okay, we will go into merge with the impersonal Brahman and we become one with Krishna. However, that doesn't happen. We explained earlier as well. But that is a conception that okay, because that layer is higher than material cosmos, and that's the first level of understanding of self-realization. And then he said what to speak about this heavenly planet. So what happens when we do very pious activities, we get our pious reactions, and then we elevate ourselves from this earthly planet to heavenly planets, and there we get longer life, and there we get so many pleasure as well. We enjoy more there, and it's being said there is no, there kind of basically very less miseries over there, so we enjoy more. And in this earthly planet we have miseries as well as happiness, so it's kind of both, we get something. But in the hellish planet it's only miseries. So this is a platform where we realize okay, at every step we have difficulty, but in the higher planet it's not like that. And he's saying that that's temporary, because in due course of time someone will again come back again to this material world. So we accumulate pious activities or pious reactions, and then we go to the higher planets, we enjoy there, and then again we fall down to this material world. When it's basically like we are discussing some other day, it's basically you go to I think we're discussing on Gita Life chapter 15. So you go to maybe a Europe trip. How long can you be there? You can be there until the resources goes away. Either your money is going away, or you are tired, you come back to your home and take rest, isn't it? And you can't, how long can you be? Either for a week, for 2 weeks, maybe for a month, but not more than that, because you have to come back again, go into your back to your job, earn money, and then pay your others' bills. So that's the thing. In a similar way, when we accumulate more pious reactions, we go to heavenly planet and then come down again to this material world. However, Krishna says, you know, he says, "A Brahma bhuvana loko punavartina Arjuna, mamupetati kauntena punarjanmana vidiyate." What does that mean? A Brahma bhuvana loko. Here it's saying, no, the Satya loka or Brahma loka. From there till end, the life cycle goes of birth and death in due course of time. In the higher planet, it's longer. In the material world, it's smaller. However, it goes. But if you attain my abode, Mamupetati Kaunteya, if you get to Vaikuntha Loka or Golok Vrindavan, Punara Janmana Vidyate, there is no next birth. Finished. When you are with me, finished. Even Krishna says in chapter 4 as well, Janma Karma Chame Divyam Yovam Abhijidakta Tekta Deham Punarjanma Niti Mameshu Arjuna. So this word of Punarjanma is Krishna explains many a time in the Bhagavad Gita that anyone who comes to my abode, there is no more birth, death, old age, and disease to him. And by glorifying to Lord, then Dhruva Maharaj continues. He says, happiness can be done by two ways. What he says? One is by meditating on Lord, and the second is hearing Krishna Katha from devotees. So these is the only happiness in this material world. Dhruva Maharaj explaining. And that's how we understand this association. And then he explains about the importance of association of devotees. He says, Dhruva Maharaj continued, he said, "O unlimited Lord, kindly bless me so that I may associate with great devotees who engage in your transcendental loving service constantly. As the waves of river constantly flow, such transcendental devotees are completely situated in an uncontaminated state of life. By the process of devotional service, I shall surely be able to cross the nation's ocean of material existence, which is filled with the waves of blazing fire like dangers. It will be very easy for me, for I am becoming mad to hear about your transcendental qualities and pastimes, which are eternally existent." So we have talked about many times about hearing or association of devotees, and then again Guru Maharaj continues the same thing. So if you see, everyone, either Dhruva Maharaj or Kapila Dev, or the we hear about Maitra Muni and Yudhishthira Maharaj, everyone is actually seeking the association of pure devotees of Lord, right? And hence, there is a story. Uh, Once Narada Muni asked him, Lord Vishnu, where do you reside? So do you reside in Vaikuntha? He said, no, I don't reside in Vaikuntha. And so he said, you must be residing within the heart of the yogis. Then he says, no, I do not reside there as well. Then Narada Muni said, please let me know where do you reside. He said, wherever my devotees sing my glories, I reside there. Right. The sloka goes like, Naham Vasami Vaikunthe, Na Hridaye Yogi Sava, Yatra Gayanti Mad Bhakta, Tratatishthami Narada. So Yatra Gayanti Mad Bhakta. Mad Bhakta means the devotees of me, wherever they sing my glorious, I come there. And even, we hear many times that wherever there is Rama Katha, Lord Rama pastimes goes on, Lord Hanuman resides there. Though with our material eyes we might not see, but Lord Hanuman comes there to hear the glories of Lord Ram. So Krishna is saying this self, I am residing within that. So when we sing the glories of Lord within our home, Krishna can come in and stay in our home. When we sing and glorify Lord through our heart can become the Dhamma, and Krishna can come and live in that heart. And then by going ahead, Dhruva Maharaj describes that, my Lord, by your unbroken transcendental glance, you are the supreme witness of all stages of intellectual activities. You are eternally liberated. Your existence is situated in pure goodness, and you are existent in the supersoul without change. You are the original personality of Godhead, full with six opulences, and you are eternally the master of three modes of material nature. Thus, you are always different from the ordinary living entities. As Lord Vishnu, you maintain all the affairs of the entire universe, and yet you stand aloof and are the enjoyer of results of all sacrifices. Just imagine the glorifications done by Dhruv Maharaj. And he is residing within our heart. He maintains the all universe through his energy, and he is the enjoyer of all results of all sacrifices. Krishna says the same thing. Bhoktaram Yagatapaswan Sharva Loka Maheshwaram. I am actually the enjoyer of all the results of the sacrifices. Right. And he says, you are very merciful as well. He says, and then Lord start speaking to Dhruva Maharaj. He says, my dear Dhruva, O son of king, you have executed the pious vows, and I also know the desire within your heart. Although your desire is very ambitious and very difficult to fulfill, I shall favor you with its fulfillment. All fortune to you. Right. And then Krishna maintains us as if a cow maintains the calf. In a similar way, Krishna maintains us. And by that, Lord started responding to Dhruva Maharaj. He says, whatever you desire, I'll award with love as well. And he said, you will be ruling this kingdom for 36 years. Okay, just 1 minute. Let me put my charger on. So you will rule this world for 36 years, and after ruling, you will come back to my abode. And we all know there is a college Dhruva Lok or Dhruva planet, and that is Lok is bigger than uh, the Loka of Satya Loka or Loka of Brahma. And then he said, okay, you had some grudges regarding to Uttama, and Uttama will die by Yakshas, and when we go for hunting, Krishna said that as well. And her mother Suruchi, she will also get burned herself in forest while searching for Uttama. And the learning comes here is that devotee explained that this is the effect of Vaishnava Aparad. Uh, when someone offend a Vaishnavas, so that can be anything. Krishna says, it's very difficult for me to save the person who offend Vaishnava. So we should be very cautious uh, to actually very honest. We should not be hurting anyone. However, when we're dealing with Vaishnava, we should be very, very cautious on that. And that Dhruva started regretting. Actually, devotee explained that, Dhruva says, oh Lord, I was actually searching for some broken pieces of glass, but I have got a real gem. I have got a diamond now. And I do not need any more of this material things. I do not need any higher kingdom than my great grandfather or nothing like. I've got a diamond now. And however, Krishna says, as you have performed the austerity to please me, having a desire to be fulfilled, so I give the benediction to you as well. And then he regret about his material desire. And then after this, Dhruva Maharaj, he gave up his envious nature towards Uttama and Mother Suruchi by getting the higher taste or blissfulness from Lord Krishna. And then as Dhruva Maharaj came back to the palace, everyone welcomed him very nicely. Even Suniti, just 1 second, please. So Suniti, just Suniti, she was so calm and composed. She guided towards bhakti and made Dhruva a great devotee. Normally we see in the fight between the family, it goes in some other way around. But here, Suniti was actually guided him towards going towards becoming a devotee of Lord Krishna. And now, not in just this life, many people in many universes, the description of Dhruva Maharaj is being glorified, and everyone discussing that. And even Suniti's tolerance even transformed the heart of Suruchi and uh, Uttanpad. So that is the power of pure devotion service. And as Mother Suniti and the same Dhruva Maharaj, they both uh, went toward the path of self-realizations. They pleased Lord Vishnu, and then Suruchi, she also got transformed. Even Uttanapad got transformed. And when Dhruva Maharaj came back, both even Suruchi and Uttanapad, they welcome very well. And then after some time, uh, Uttanapad left for he retired for self-realization, and Dhruva Maharaj was given throne. So in this way, we actually completed chapter 9, and even the Surishi, she has given up her envious nature towards Dhruva as well. And later on, after that, what happened? Uh, Dhruva Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj got married with two wives. That is, one is called as Brahmi, and we got two sons, Kalpa and Vatsara. And from Ela, Ela is basically daughter of Vayu, and we got a daughter and a son called Utkala. And Uttama, with Uttama, who was a son of like brother of Dhruva Maharaj, step brother, or the son of Suruchi, he went. he was actually going on the forest, and Yakshas, they killed him. And he went for a hunting, and the Yakshas killed him. And then Suruchi, in search of, as told by Krishna's earlier to Dhruva Maharaj, in search of Uttama, Suruchi went inside a forest, and the forest fire happened, and she died over there. And however, though, see, earlier, Dhruva Maharaj has a bit of envious towards Uttama and Suruchi. However, later being transformed by the spiritual knowledge, Dhruva, he became so much affectionate to both, even to Uttama and to Suruchi. And as a Kshatriya, the responsibility is to fight back for the life of Uttama. And Dhruva, actually, he went to Alakapuri to fight with the Yakshas. And he went there, he blew his conch shells and started fighting alone. It's been said that there are 130,000 Yakshas, and they are fighting with Dhruva Maharaj alone. And once, in one of a time, Dhruva Maharaj was actually covered with arrows. He was fully covered with arrows. And everyone, Dhruva Maharaj could shoot 3 arrows, and they are shooting 6 arrows. Just imagine one person shooting 6 arrows, and there are 130,000 Yakshas. However, Dhruva Maharaj was so strong, and he was fighting alone. And but as he was covered with all the arrows, he meditated, and the rishis came, and they enlightened him, said, okay, you use your uh, Narana Astra to fight back with them. And then the fight, he actually broke all these things, and he started fighting back again with that. And Dhruva Maharaj actually became victorious. And when he started using his Narana Astra, so all them started running here and there. But as 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 it's being said, they can use the tricks as well. So they went back, but still they were waiting to come back and attack Dhruva. And then they came back by their mystic illusions. They came back, they started showing so many other things. However, at the end, Dhruva Maharaj became victorious. And in between that, Swayambhu Manu, he comes back. He says, you should stop fighting with them now. Earlier, if you remember, we were discussing, even in the episode of Daksha Maharaj, Daksha Prajapati, that because of his envious, the whole community was blamed, isn't it? So the sites of Lord Shiva, or the devotees of Lord Shiva, they started blaspheming about the Brahmanas on the side of Daksha Prajapatis. And the Dakshas, they started blaming about the parties of Lord Shivas. So the whole community is blaspheming started over there. And now here also, because of the mistake of one Yakshas who killed Uttama, Dhruva Maharaj was actually started killing so many Yakshas. And then Shambhu Manu, his grandfather, he came and stopped. He tried to stop him. He said, okay, he said that, as the mistake was done by just one person, it's not good to kill everyone, right? And so though Dhruva Maharaj was in excessive anger, because though it's sinful, but he was affectionate to his brother, so he was in full anger. And a Kshatriya, his blood is again anger, and he has to fight. And then Manu pacified him, said that killing so many people just for one's fault is not justified. And you should think from that as well. And you have been enlightened by the Lord, so you should use your intelligence as well and avoid unnecessarily killing. And you are such a great devotee, you should not behave like this. So please tolerate it and calm down. And then just by hearing these words, because these are anyway a great devotee of Lord, and they listen the instruction of the higher authority. And by hearing the Manu's guidance that do not fight anymore, Dhruva Maharaj stop fighting, right? And then he says Lord is very satisfied with his devotees when the devotee greets other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. So that is being said by Manu Maharaj, Shambhu Manu to Dhruva Maharaj. Because when we deal with the people with tolerant, with mercy, with friendship and equality, he is much pleaser. There is saying, it says, uh, I am saying sorry not because I am wrong, but because I forgot that verse, that no lines, because I respect you more, kind of things. So if a person is not wrong, then also saying sorry is not bad, because the relationship is more important than fighting. And then he instructed Dhruva Maharaj to stop the fight. And by that, understanding that the Krishna is the cause of all causes. He says, Krishna is the maintainer of creation, maintenance, and destruction. So he is indirectly kind of a cause of everything what happens in universe. So just think that the death of Uttama and Surushi was a kind of uh, cause made by Lord himself. So is a time, and time destroy everything. So please stop the war. And then Dhruva Maharaj stopped the war. Dhruva Maharaj gave up his anger and surrendered unto Lord. That is again very well. And Dhruva Maharaj admits his mistake again, saying, okay, I was in anger because of assassination of my brother, but everything is fine now. I stopped the work. And he asked forgiveness to with the Kubera and the Yakshas as well. Yeah. And that is how we end chapter 11. I think we'll continue from chapter 12 tomorrow. We'll see here how Dhruva Maharaj goes back to Godhead after ruling for 36 years as a king. Right. It's a very short chapter, but we will discuss it tomorrow and continue from there. Any questions, please let me know, or any comments.
Prabhu, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Prabhu, what do you mean by yaksha?
Yakshas are actually how can I explain you?
Are they ghosts or demons?
A kind of, but exact answer. Okay. So I'll give the exact answer tomorrow. Okay. So I'll have it search more about.
Okay, one more question.
Yes.
whenever you are telling, I mean, whatever you are saying, in fact, and in everywhere the king in Hindu faith and everyone, they are actually marrying twice, thrice. Is it really allowed in Hindu religion, Hindu culture to get married twice? And why is that everywhere, like, kings are married twice, thrice, fourth? I mean, what is the reason behind this?
Okay, first of all, Hindu, it comes just now, isn't it?
Okay.
So the origin of Hindu is very different than that of the earlier. So I do not think earlier it was kind of Hindu. Hindu is again, that's again it's a history kind of, but earlier it all used to be Bharata Varsha.
Okay. Okay.
Prabhuji, can I come in here for a minute?
Yes, please, definitely.
Right. In times gone by, kings could have as many wives as they wanted, 5, 10, 20, whatever wives they wanted. That was the necessity because they wanted to increase the area of their kingdom. But when Sri Ram came as the avatar, and because he was a Maryada Purushottam, and that's when he started the pratha of one man, one wife. And since then, we have been having one man, one wife. Even now, some rich people will have one wife, but will have girlfriends on the side or mistresses. But that's unfortunate. But one man, one wife is enough.
Okay.
So earlier, what
Thank
happened?
you, uncle.
Earlier, the king, they have those facilities, they can maintain everything. But I'm not very much sure about the answers of this question. I'll try to find out.
Not to worry. Thanks a lot, Prabhuji, for giving me the chance to put my view across.
Prabhuji, just one question. Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Is this the same Dhruv Maharaj meaning Dhruv Tara?
Yes.
That right?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, then we can stop here if there is no more questions. Granth
Hare
Srimad
Krishna.
Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Tomorrow.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.